Hello, and thank you for joining me this lovely Friday lunchtime. It's nearly the weekend. And welcome one and all to my Prince extravaganza. Yeah, you thought you were talking about the Unspoken CEO. No, I've fooled you. This is what I want to talk about. If I could spend all my life talking about Prince, I happily would. Many people know that. So I've got my purple shirt on. I'm going to start with Purple Rain. That one there. I got that when I was 15. I think it was 1985. When I first heard When Doves Cry, that was a moment. If I could bottle that moment, it would be better than any drug. The guy is brilliant. Moving on to Sign of the Time. No, not fooling you. Okay, I thought I'd go there. And if anyone does want to talk about Prince, talk to me. I can talk your ears off. But if you don't know anything about Prince, go find his Super Bowl halftime show live on YouTube. It's amazing. 10 minutes. Tell me what you think. Now, I am here to talk about the Unspoken CEO. Now, the Unspoken CEO is something I launched last year. We did 4 podcasts. I thought they were good, but they weren't quite what I wanted. So I put it on a shelf. I'm going to come back to that. I'm not going to drop this one. There's something missing. And I think I've got it. I think it's teeth. And I've been through a lot in the last year, good and bad. So I think I can add teeth. So today is just me talking at the camera. And what is the Unspoken CEO? The Unspoken CEO is I'm trying to be the anti-Stephen Bartlett. All those founders out there, all those CEOs, all those owners that, I'm 4 times exit, I'm going for seed capital number 4. It scares me. It's not what I am. And most of the founders I meet are more like me about we're just doing our absolute best. So I want to talk about what's going on behind the LinkedIn facade. Because you see me on LinkedIn, I do a video. People bump into me in the street and say, you're doing so well, Patrick. It's brilliant. I see your videos on LinkedIn. You must be flying. Yeah, of course. That's exactly what's going on. That's why I've got time to be doing LinkedIn videos, because I'm so busy. But we're going to come on to that. Before we do, just a few rules, what this is going to be. So I'm going to talk on for 20 or so minutes. I've got this thing set up, I think, so that I will get your questions. There is a risk that I won't, but I do want questions. I'd love somebody to just ping something saying, yeah, we can hear you. But I want tough questions. I'm going to waffle for a while and take questions at the end. The whole thing for me is going to be honest, completely open and unsifted. Sorry, unscripted. Honest, open and unscripted. I should change that. And I really don't know how many of you there are. Could be 1, could be 1,000, could be 1 million. Obviously, it's going to be 1 million. But I'm going to take a leaf out of the wonderful Lord Terry Wogan's book. God love him. He said when he was talking on the radio, he would always picture his audience as being his auntie back in Ireland. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I absolutely adore my Auntie Barbara, who lives up in Stockport. The only challenge we've got there is that she's very old and quite hard of hearing. So I will be talking very loudly and slowly. Probably not a bad thing. Okay, so where to start? Me. Where do I start by being honest? That's tough. I was born in Newcastle. We've got 56 years of stories there to go through, but we're not going to do that one. I'm not even going to tell you about my old career, the old banking and consulting world. It bored me for long enough. I don't really want to bore you over lunch. You've got better things to do. Now, I'm going to start in 2022 when I became a founder. And I founded Change Alchemy, my business. I set myself up as a coach, executive coach, leadership coach, call it what you will. And I very quickly got myself 2 very good clients, one of which I still have. And then also in 2024, I set up Evernorm. I co-founded it with my business partner, Steve Evans. We supply sustainability for manufacturers. But I'm not going to talk about the products today. So my brain is saying, oh, tell them what it all is. No, I don't want to talk about that. I've got two businesses. One's mine, one's co-founded. That's all you need to know. But I have learned so much along the way that I wish I had been told when I started. And that's the point of this. So that's what I'm going to go through here. So number one, the first thing, God, you're going to need a tough skin. Before you do something, people go, oh yeah, that's great, you're going to be brilliant. As soon as you do it, you will meet everybody who tells you, why are you doing that? Someone else is doing that. They're better than you. I could do it better than you. Hey, I could do it better than you. Why are you bothering? It's relentless. What I have learned is I and you are by far and away the best person in the world at being me or you. I've set up my business because I'm good at what I do. And I stand by that. And that's how I get through those conversations with people who aren't as good at doing what I do as I am. They've just got an opinion. That's just an opinion. It's hard, but you need to shake that off. So yeah, have a tough skin. That's key. And neatly brings me on to, I said, Change Alchemy to clients is like shooting fish in a bucket. It was easy. Yeah. And then I realized, I need to go and find some more clients. And that was hard. And I read lots of books and I found one technique that I thought worked. And it probably still does if I do it. And that is tell everybody in the world that you know and who they know what you're doing and how it can help. And if they don't want your services, they might know someone who does. It is that simple. Tell everybody you know what you're doing. Right. So I tried that and I spoke to somebody I worked with back in the 90s who had gone on to be very, very successful in a uber billion silly fund management company. And I went, I had a coffee, I hadn't seen him in ages. Nice guy, not going to say his name. And I did exactly that. I said, this is what I do. This is what I help. Do you know anybody? And he said, oh, you know what? I'm a CEO and I don't know what's coming next. I'm in my 60s. I don't want to just go and play golf and I don't know who to hand the business over to. Maybe you could help me. Wow. So the rest of that meeting turned into a bit of a planning session, but honestly, it was one of the best meetings I had. It showed me, yes, I'm doing the right thing. I am good at this. I'm right to be pursuing this. I can help and I can earn money. So what did I do? Good northern boy. I went straight out after that meeting, called my wife, said, yeah, you've got to be rich. And I went to Selfridges because this is posh London. And I went to one of the posh bits of Selfridges and I bought myself this purple shirt. It's lovely. Love it. I didn't even buy it off a sale rack. I paid full price for a shirt in Selfridges. Boys from Hull don't do that, but I did. And this is an admission. As a Prince fan, I should probably be careful with this one, but I'm not even a fan of purple. I prefer orange. I don't know, purple just doesn't do it for me, but I've got my purple shirt and my albums. Went home. I think pretty much that night I sent his proposal. Followed up a week later. When are we talking? Yep. Phone call a week later. Could you pass the message on? A week later, nothing. After about a month, I can't remember exactly, I should have thought of this before. I sent what is known as almost like the killer email, the one that says, can I take it you're not taking this forward? Or something to that effect that is supposed to really trigger somebody to just go, oh, sorry, I've been busy. So I told myself that they're busy, there's stuff going on. Felt very odd because the vibe in the room had been brilliant. And almost by return post, let's say, in the email world, I got a response, which now the person I was dealing with is from what I consider posh London. I don't want to be anti-posh. No. Let's say, London. had a pinky ring, knew how to behave properly, knew which knives and forks to use, that kind of thing. His response came through, and he's a multi-millionaire. Fine. His response came through as, we are not going to be pursuing this, comma, regards, full stop. Now in England, just regards that's an insult. But luckily, I'm a big boy, I'm grown up, put it to one side, moved on, went off and got 20 new clients. Simples. Rubbish. No, what I did was it broke me. It really did. I'd been like a hamster on a wheel trying to get clients. In that month, I hadn't been getting any more. Been having lots of conversations which were, not many don't know how to help, aren't there? Somebody else could do that. It was breaking me, and I pretty nearly broke. And there was one moment which is so special to me. My son, who would have been, let's do the maths, would have been 14 at the time, and going through challenges of his own, which I'm not going to talk about on this call, but serious, not in a good place, saw me in the state I was in, gave me a hug and said, I believe in you, Dad, you've got this. And then I had to leave the house and go and get on the train, but that stayed with me. And I actually did probably the best thing ever. I took a month off work. Not because I'm cool, but because I knew I was broken. And I knew I needed to take a step back. There's no money coming in the door at this point. There's a bit from my client, but not enough to keep us going. But I took a month off to recalibrate. There's a good word. To think, what am I actually doing here? I don't know. Now, that was hard, but I came back because in that month I got better. Depression is a real thing. I was broken, but I got better. I redoubled my efforts and I retried. But one of the things it showed me was I need to get better at what I call all the C's, or the 7 C's. We all love cod liver oil. Get some 7 C's. I am excellent at my product. You, if you're a founder, you are excellent at your product. That's the point. That's why you're doing it. I am crap, rubbish. That's as rude as I'll get. Rubbish as a CFO or a chief marketing officer or a chief technology officer. I've just recently got a new laptop, and everyone I've had a call with in the last month has heard me swearing at, this doesn't work yet. It's not me. But every company that is successful has all of these roles. Even if it's one-man band, they have these roles in some form or another. So you have to learn that. You have to make sure these are covered. There's no good at being good at the product in your shed if nobody knows about it. You need to find a way and, delegate or hire, or my brother's my accountant. That's good, because if he ever tries to overcharge me, I'll remind him of that thing he did at 15 that he'll never want anyone to know about, that I know about. I made that up, or did I? But get your support. And that brings me on to what I call the Mickey Mouse gang, or the headless Mickey Mouse gang. And this is what is your tribe. So it's lonely. There are plenty of people out there that will tell you how brilliant business is for them. They've actually got a ticketing system for their clients. They're thinking of building some stadium seating in their front garden for their potential clients. The queue's so big. It's all rubbish. Now, most people are like me, and you need to find those and help each other. Now, there are times when I've helped people extensively, and I think, well, I should start thinking about charging them because this is what I offer. But I get so much back, so I don't do that. It is pure quid pro quo. We help each other. And you've got to find those people. Those people are your tribe, because being a lone trader, sole trader, founder, whatever, even in a partnership, it is lonely. You need that external view that you'd get if you're in a normal company where you can sit next to somebody who's not in your team and just ask them about the football. By the way, Hull City are in the Championship playoffs, if it ever goes ahead. Last bit I'll say about that. So what I see that tribe as is, I call it the headless Mickey Mouse gang, because you think about Disney World, which I've never been to, and you see all these characters going around with their big heads on, and great kids having fun, but they go around the back of Space Mountain or something similar, open door, and in there's a slobby room with crappy old sofas, a drinks machine, and they're all vaping. There would have been smoking, but it's vaping these days. They get to take their heads off. And they get to complain about that kid that sat on their lap and weed. They get to complain about that kid over there that started kicking them. And they get to talk, well, let's not go on yet. But that's their space. It is safe. And actually, that's what this podcast is about. It's about being able to expose yourself in a safe way, but to the wider world, as much as you're willing to do. Now, one thing I have learned the hard way, I've talked about sales, I'm getting better at it, but it's meat. We need to sell meat. And I've suffered from this one. And this comes from, I've framed it differently now, but it comes from reading The Lord of the Flies, which I read recently, which I'm very proud of the fact that I read a whole book, a real one. It came from a library, totally sustainable. Yeah. The point of The Lord of the Flies, now I didn't do Lord of the Flies at school for GCSE. I did To Kill a Mockingbird for GCSE. Actually, I avoided reading it and failed, but that's not the point. I read it afterwards, brilliant book. Lord of the Flies blew me away. Quick run through of what it is for those that don't know. It's basically an allegory for life. Plane crash on an island, you've got 20 or 30 kids. What do? Well, a guy called Ralph, with his friend Piggy, who has glasses, takes charge. They get a fire going on top of the mountain. They get a conch shell. They have an area where they talk, and a conch shell says authority. We are in charge. If you've got the conch shell, you can talk. And they started building huts, and they started going for fruit, and they organized everyone, and everyone was happy, apart from a group led by a guy called Jack, who was much more just a do-it person. And Jack went out there wanting to get meat. He'd seen pigs, so he went and killed a pig, and he cooked a pig. And slowly but surely, people started leaving Ralph's gang, going over to Jack, because they could smell pork cooking. They wanted pig. That's what we need to do. We need to sell that meat. We don't do strategy. I do strategies and plans and gap analysis and root cause assessments. Root cause analysis, sorry. But it's dull. Actually, what I do is I work really closely with business leaders, solve their problems for them, and get them moving forward again. So what's your problem? That's it. It's more emotional than a strategy. Yeah, there'll be a strategy at the end or a plan or something, but it's what's your problem that needs solving? Get a bit of me in to solve. So it's about selling the meat, because Jack went and got meat and everyone wanted meat now. I don't care about a strategy. I don't care about fire in the sky for a boat that might never come. Meat now. So that's one of my pieces of advice of look at what you're offering. Is it meat? And then this is a bit of a personal one. I call it my 3 a.m. spot. And we all get this. This is you're awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and the world is crashing around you. What do you do? So I get out of bed. I go to the back of the house where there's a nice little sofa and there's a lamp. I get a notebook and I scribble stuff out of my head. Get it out of my head. We all have these moments. When we were working, we had bosses that would just be a pain. You had deadlines that were difficult. You don't have that now, but you have something different. You don't have a paycheck coming in. You know, you're making decisions that can make or break your business tomorrow, but you need space. And I've learned that those 3 o'clock in the morning moments are actually really special. There could be down times, obviously. I talked about depression already, but it's your time to just think about what you want. There's no pressure on you. Nobody wants anything from you at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, the dog always wants to go out. But that is your space to just be yourself. So use it. Use it as a flush your brain, and just make the most of having that extra time to yourself. And what I do in those times, and somebody yesterday was telling me, Emma was telling me, journaling. Journaling is a good way, and I sometimes do. I've got ADHD, so then I forget, and I don't. But it's a really good system of getting stuff out of your brain, but bringing yourself back to your purpose. Why are you doing this? And a lot of what I do in my work helping business leaders is working on purpose, because that often gets lost, because business purpose suddenly becomes EBITDA. And that's dull. There's no feeling, there's no joy, there's no heart at all in EBITDA. What is the point? Now, what Ikigai is, if you have or haven't heard of it, Ikigai is a model I use a lot, which is, it's Japanese for purpose. So I'm looking to the side because I'm not sure if questions are coming in or I'm just here on my own, but I'm going to keep going. Ikigai is 4 components. It's what the world needs, great. What the world will pay for, even better. But then the 2 key ones for me are what you're good at and what you enjoy. Those 2 are your passion. If you get all 4, that's Ikigai, real purpose. Any one of those missing, if you're good at something, the world will pay for it, the world needs it, but you don't enjoy it, that's joyless. That's just a grind. Where's the pleasure? So try and get those 4, but those 2 are key. What you are good at and what you enjoy. Really focus on that and keep bringing yourself back to that, because you're a founder. You're good at what you do. You care about what you do. You're doing it for a reason. You're probably right. So stick at it. You will keep being dragged off course. Use that Ikigai. Use that 3 o'clock in the morning point to just bring you back. So they're the points I wanted to bring up. I'm just going to play over here with a few buttons because I'm either not getting any messages or I'm not seeing them, but I'm just going to have to crack on. Yeah, so what I need from you, what I would really appreciate is, if anything has resonated, and that's a real AI word, isn't it? Resonated or surfaced. If anything has resonated with you on this call, let me know. Send me a message or put it in the chat or put a question on the LinkedIn post around this, but let me know, because that's what this is about. It's about letting founders know we're not on our own. It is tough. Still looking. The other one is, do you want to be a guest on this podcast? I'd love you to be, or do you know somebody who would? The idea is simple as this: half an hour on a Friday, live, chatting to camera about your experience, and not just the downside, but what's worked for you. What tips and tricks can you pass on to the next generation of founders? That is it. In a weird way, I'm happy there aren't any questions. That either means there is nobody there, or I haven't worked out how to see the comments. Yep. I will stay online just for a minute. If you are there, if anybody is there, please just put a comment in, just see if it flows through. Otherwise, it's a real questions. Thank you, Emma. I'll put it on screen. I can do that. Thank you, Emma. What are the main things you work with CEOs on? Are there common themes? I said before, it's about the heart. It's about getting to what the CEO really cares about. The big pain point at the minute is AI. What is coming with AI? I believe wholeheartedly that it's a bit of a misnomer. People think AI is this tech thing. It's not. It's just a new business challenge that leaders need to get on top of and ahead of. And the challenges that they have, there's so much to do. It'd be easier to just put their head in the sand. So people putting their head in the sand, or trusting others, or using one expert. That's a classic where you have somebody, this is the blind spot one, where you have an expert in IT. Well, this is an IT problem. So we ask the expert in IT and they say, don't worry, there's nothing in it for us. That is one person's opinion that is completely blinkered to what they do. Go and ask somebody in finance about it. They'll have a different opinion, but it's trying to embrace it, where I think most business leaders have got enough on their plate with just running the business, understanding what EBITDA is, sustainability is a problem, legislation is a problem. Now we've got AI, and that's going to kill my bit. It's too much. So, yeah, I think on top of the standard issue problems that a business leader has, it's AI, and how do we tackle that? And it's a hard one because the answer is not easy. Thank you for the question, Emma. Any more? No? Okay, well, I am going to say thank you for joining me, and I'm going to go get some lunch. As I say, do get in touch. Feel free to message me after this if you want to, or just get in touch. And particularly get in touch if you want to come on and be a guest. I'd love to see you. Have a lovely rest of the day and a great weekend, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. There you go.